our band champion list: Silas, Jax, Pantheon, Echo, Darius, Ornn, Azir, Sion, Xerath, Varus, Tom, Kench, Set, Ziggs, Caitlyn, Fiora, Galio, Trundle, Orianna, Camille, Vladimir, Urgot, Ashe, Gnar, and Jace. None of these champions are available. This is how brutal a best of 3 Fearless can be. So far we see the Udyr bands and the Garen bands coming out.
Bands that are very easy comfort picks. We also find the Jinx ban coming out. Even though Cody's not playing, that might say that they still are scared of the marksman coming out in these drafts.
Yeah, Slime did say that not only that the reason why they were picking the ranged champions wasn't necessarily because that's all Cody can play, but instead because they think it is a counter to the current meta with a lot of the top lane champions that we're seeing losing out to some of the marksmen.
You also see the Dr. Mundo band out, following the trend of the Galio and the Garen, making sure that we're getting rid of characters that can just sit underneath the towers and farm safely. Kai'Sa also being banned out. Although it is a marksman, we have seen it in mid lane multiple different occasions, similar to Tristana, so there might be a high priority on to Tristana or similar champions this game.
Speaking of which,
perfectly lane into champions.
Tristana still up, the Yorick also still up, so some powerful champions.
Band, so Yorick gets through to game 3.
Yeah, powerful champions still up. However, if you pick Yorick, you have to be careful because the Aurelia is still up as well. We're going to see the Volibear locked in first, so being able to find
the highest
some of that
picked
split
champion
push
so far in the tournament.
That's interesting. I would not have predicted that.
Yorick and Trundle should be, but they're banned so often that they don't get. The Syndra is a wave clear mage that we have seen plenty of times and potentially fits a different style compared to the marksman that we have been seeing from Slime.
Yeah, I almost got jump scared. I had to double check the list because the Syndra was actually banned in the last series, available for this series, but had to do a double take there. The Lulu locked in.
We do see the support come through.
So I was joking.
Not quite the uni.
I was joking that Los Riddlers could pick the Lulu, but apparently Slime was listening to the interview and said, "You know what? That's not a joke," and they're gonna go lock it in just like that.
The Zed hover, very aggressive pick, and with a Syndra Lulu, although they could space and peel for each other massively, the Zed could also just one-shot them if they find the angle correctly.
However, if the Zed falls behind at all into a champion like Lulu, is going to be completely useless. If he can't get through that shield and that ultimate, he can't do anything.
And if they lock in this Kalista, they're going to start taking up some of Slime strategies and using it against him. This is one of the remaining ones that are left that can be aggressive, but instead they seem to be flexing over to the Yone. A pick that we have seen on multiple occasions work out very well. Always been solid, has a shielding. The E that means that we can go more aggressive and still get out perfectly safe.
Now, I do have to say, Volibear and Yone are very reliant on shields, so we could be seeing this as a potential Renekton angle. Would have a good matchup into all 3 of these champions. I don't know if it's a champion that Slime has in the back pocket, or if they're going to lock in something else.
Now running out of time.
They're going to lock in Talon.
And then last second Talon.
Well, so we're getting some exciting drafts, that's for sure. We have 2 assassins, Talon and Zed. I don't believe we've seen either of these before. We might have seen Zed once, but we've definitely not seen Talon. We've definitely not seen Lulu.
This is the first-time champions picked up in this game. Talon has a massive roam threat. Obviously, once we get past the 2-minute mark, and dash over the walls and quickly get to opposite lanes. With the Lulu, it might be their idea to try and actually focus up on these objectives that we've barely seen taken these games so far. Furthermore, Syndra is going to be always able to catch waves, and this Lulu, as you said, Yuumi can work with Talon. Lulu can work with Talon as well. It's just you are going to have to make sure you're keeping up with the Talon as they're getting around the map, though.
And now I am an idiot. I forgot to run ads during the break, so I will run ads now. The ads should be over before the game starts. Otherwise, the ads would have played smack in the middle of the game, which would not have been good.
Yeah. The one side is very aggressive. They are looking to dive you at any opportunity possible, pretty much. And they will have a little bit of lane dominance, but if Slime can successfully get out of lane and roam, they have one of the perfect team comps to be able to combine all three players together. But they are reliant on that scaling element with the Syndra and Lulu. So if this game gets out of hand quickly, we might see a very similar game to last time, but they have less playmaking than last time, so it might be difficult if they do fall behind.
Looks like the bets once again not so confident. We have 1,000 coming in for Los Riddlers, but nothing coming in for Slime. This is deja vu to game one, which Slime actually did win. So,
Which draft are you preferring currently?
honestly, I'm potentially leaning towards the Los Riddlers draft, actually. I know that Lulu can be a pretty good solo laner, but I feel like she might struggle into some of these champions. Will not be able to push Volibear off of the turret. Zed and Yone maybe can dive on top of her and kill her. And then the Syndra, I think she might struggle this game. Definitely not the easiest to land scatter on mobile champions like Zed and Yone, and I doubt she'd be able to one-shot the Volibear. Same thing for the Talon. Enemy team might be a little bit too tanky for him. We'll have to see though. Maybe Slime can snowball the game out of proportion. I think would be their win condition.
I do feel that although Lulu fits a specific role that could work with the Syndra and the Talon, maybe picking up the Karma or like a Morgana might have actually worked slightly better, because they can probably pressurize and lane just that little bit more than the Lulu can, even though the defensive ability isn't quite as strong. It will be interesting to see what runes also get picked up for this game as well.
Yeah, I'm expecting at least Demolish on the Volibear, but both of these teams have shown that they're not necessarily super reliant on it, that they don't necessarily care too much. So we will have to see. Coming in, yeah, it looks like we only have 3 potential resolve trees.
We got Grasp and Lulu, in particular. We have Electrocute Syndra, so definitely trying to get more of that burst-focused runes coming out.
Let's take a look at some of these runes. Second Wind Demolish for the Volibear. Zed coming in with the cashback. Interesting. I don't think cashback will give too much value in this shorter format. Yeah, Yone opting for more of a laning set. Lulu does have the Demolish.
Demolish. Grasp, Demolish, Lulu. Might be able to use the range advantage into a Zed matchup potentially, especially with the Q. Pixie can do surprising amounts of damage sometimes, especially with the Doran's Ring start, rather than Tear or any other item.
Los Riddlers are employing the hide behind a turret strategy, so really trying not to allow Slime to move around to try to get favorable lanes. I'm still hardwired onto the Lulu here, whoops.
How do you see that the Talon and the Volibear matchup going exactly?
I mean, it's certainly interesting. Like, Talon should be winning these short trades once he gets level 2. You land the W, you land the Q, get the auto, it's a good trade. If Volibear can find a way to extend the trade, though, if he gets that second W off, I think it's going to start to go his way.
I feel like with the shorter lane, and with the walls being actually nearby, it might allow Talon to get quicker trades more effectively, though, rather than in a longer lane.
It just depends on how aggressive Volibear plays the wave. If he's willing to E on top of the wave off cooldown to maintain the push. Otherwise, Talon should be able to have the shove, can maybe look to then roam around, influence these side lanes.
You're looking for the Q3 onto the Syndra for a quick trade. Just level up E first. Just get a bit of the health trade back. Talon is getting that push in the mid lane. And Lulu is completely all over this wave, using Pixie to poke off the Zed, forcing it back. Already got this wave to the turret. Zed's not level 3, so you can keep trying to get them grass procs with the range advantage as well.
Yeah, for those who were around back in ye olden days, Lulu top and Lulu mid used to be pretty strong. Lulu has a lot of tools that make her good in solo lanes. The shield can help her with trades. She can polymorph the enemy when they try to go in. And then her Q, the Glitter Lance, deals a surprisingly high amount of base damage and has the 80% slow. So unless she's laning against somebody with a lot of gap close, she can tend to just poke them with her enhanced passive autos.
Even with the landing that Lulu was able to put onto the Zed, they are choosing to move that talent straight away as soon as possible into that top lane and put in the Lulu into the volley bear instead.
Yeah, smart decision, I think. Zed, as he gets to level 6, will have an easy time getting on top of the Lulu, whereas the Volibear, gonna be a little bit tougher. Has to run directly at the Lulu, gives her plenty of time to land the telegraphed Glitter Lance or the Polymorph. So, I understand why they made the swap. Ignite dropped for Talon
Ignite
here.
coming down, yeah. Does flash in for it, gets a good trade, forces flash back out from the Zed.
Ooh, that was really close. If Talon got the auto attack there, he would have popped the passive, and I think that would have killed.
Not many minions to push the turret too much, but does force the Zed to think about backing.
Yeah, Talon though, low on mana.
Ninja also starting to get low on mana as well on the bot side of the map against Yone. Although it has the health advantage.
It also has the Doran's ring for a little bit of the mana sustain. Talon with the Doran's blade, once he's out, he's out.
Mana is done from the Syndra, but not really too much mana to keep following it up, and long cooldowns this early in the game, not really a kill threat. Yone does take the back, has TP, should be able to get back into this lane. Talon will be TP-less for most of this game, and as you see, that polymorph and the Q slows from the Lulu, although the mana struggles seem to do exist, it does give the Lulu decent chance to bully this Volley Bear from getting any of this CS.
Yeah, you can see just how impressive Lulu can be, but the Zed coming in from the side was pinged. Lulu knows he was there, and it does not look like the roam will be successful.
Yone picks up the Vant Scepter on his first back. Gives him that extra sustain into this Syndra that can poke him out sometimes. Talon finds an angle onto the Zed, but doesn't choose to follow up any more than that. So far, much more standard laning. People just poking at each other, trying to get a reaction out of each other. Not really finding any all-ins just yet, but as we hit into level 6, multiple champions hit major power spikes. Yone's ultimate might just be what he needs to roam and try and make a play out on the map.
Yeah, Void Grub spawning in 3 seconds. Let's see if either team is interested in these at all. Talon maybe pretending like he has the level advantage, but can't find the Q. And once again, you can see that passive radiating on Zed. All that means is that if Talon was able to get the auto attack, he would have gotten that extra bleed damage. So a few times now, kind of close. But now Zed is level 6, has the ult, maybe,
and has health bar and mana advantage.
It actually does look like Zed did pop the ultimate and just couldn't get anything productive with it.
Going in for a nice trade. Zed gets a nice trade back onto the Talon going aggressive. And ends up getting the first blood of the game. Talon a little bit overextended, caught without Ignite, caught with very low mana. Now, Yone finds the ult onto the Syndra, forces the flash out of the immobile Syndra. Arguably, that's a trade up with the shorter cooldown on the Yone ult.
Yeah, I think Talon just underestimated the fact that Zed does bonus damage to targets under half health. The health was about equal. Talon fell under half. Zed landed 1 auto attack, and did like 200 damage. It's hard to prepare for that if you don't exactly know what Zed does, but looks like Zed was able to get away with it this time.
Both Lulu and Volibear just sticking around on very low mana. Lulu just playing the range game, standing in front of the minions, making sure to zone off the Volibear. Volibear's gonna take the first back of the game for himself. Or if he does TP back, his TP timings will be quite offset from the rest of the team.
Looks like Volibear is waiting around in base to get some kind of item. I wonder what he could have here.
He will lose out on a wave because of this, especially if he doesn't start getting the TP off soon.
He's sitting on 1350. What could possibly cost 1350? He just bought an 1100 tunneler. I have no idea why he waited around for so long to do that.
He's losing pretty much a full wave as well. Talon's now trying and solo Void Grubs. This is some of the highest objective priority we've seen all day. Most of the time we haven't even seen any attempts at the Void Grubs, if not only after a kill.
Yeah, it looks
like he's only gone for the
Talon
forced to back out due to the health.
Yeah, Talon finding himself struggling a bit, although it is important to note Talon does enhanced monster damage with his bleed passive. He gets much more bleed damage on monsters than he does against champions, so is able to take the Void Grubs relatively quickly, although without the jungle item having some health sustain issues.
Lulu seems to be rotating back up into the Zed matchup now. Talon going back into mid against the Volibear. Oh, nice buffer out of the Yonot with the scatter. Yun still was able to get a massive trade on here. Has flash available, but Syndra gets back in the turret. Doesn't get hit by the Q3.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised to see that Yone didn't go for the flash Q3 there. It looked like a potential lethal angle.
Ult comes out, puts really low health bar. Talon also going in for the trade with the Volibear. It's a bit more extended, so it's not too bad for the Volibear. And Lulu instantly back to abusing the Pixie slow against the Zed in the top lane.
Yeah, maybe they're thinking that now that the Volibear is a little bit more behind, Talon won't struggle as much in the matchup. Maybe they're also thinking that Lulu can stop Zed from getting some kills because of her her shield and her poly.
Then you gets a nice wave crash, has TP back if it wants to. Zed goes in but gets polymorphed. Lulu also pops ult, completely safe from the engage, but exhausts all the mana.
And still has the teleport, so even if she's out of mana, she can always just leave and TP back. Looks like she's going a tank build, has the Balmy Cinder. So I was expecting more of an AP build.
As well. So we're going to see a very tanky Lulu potentially by the end of this game.
Yeah, but the real question is, what does a tank Lulu actually do? Like, I guess you can press R and yourself, and then have the slow field, but I don't quite understand, other than that, what a tank Lulu can do that an enchanter or an AP Lulu couldn't.
After that first Void Grub, it seems like we've settled back down to these teams both ignoring objectives for most of the series. It's put out a little bit, but again, an amazing scatter coming out from Redex's Garden. This Yone almost every time tries to go for a play. Syndra is landing the scatter perfectly at the right moment. Nice trade from the Talon onto the Volibear. Very low health bar, but does take a turret shot. Does still choose to go for it with the ult. Volibear's ult back, and the Talon ends up getting executed to the turret. Volibear gets nothing off of it, but free time in lane. But massive overextension from the Talon to dive there.
Yeah, lucky for Talon that it was an execute, but even so, Talon no TP, Volibear might be able to take a few plates here. The alternative would be Syndra could TP mid and the Talon could run bot, but it doesn't seem like she's interested in doing that. So we are going to see one plate go down.
I'm looking to roam up to top 5 potentially. That is caught on the turret, but only one turret shot comes out from the turret. If one more turret shot does come out, potentially Zed dies there.
Yeah, Zed having a lot of issues trying to do any damage to this Lulu whatsoever. Lulu canceling the base is huge. Talon going to be wrapping around. Maybe they look for a potential dive here.
Talon will have to go through the turret with this current angle without flash. Wave is going to be coming towards the turret, but won't be crashing exactly as soon as this Talon would have wanted. A lot of time is now being wasted by this Talon. Might not even be worth it at this point if they do get this kill successfully.
Should be a pretty free dive. Lulu can just drop the poly and then Talon can go in. Let's see though. Yep.
Yeah,
nice dive. Volibear
kill.
gets another plate bid for it though.
Now gonna just use both players being topside. The Yo misses enough for ult. We didn't get to see if it was because of the scatter. They do ult felt trade, which means the Yo ends up being really low.
Yeah, the Syndra flashed to dodge the ult actually, so Yone still has flash, Syndra does not.
Talon's getting multiple plates here, so it does seem like it is actually worth it in the end for trait plates rather than the Talon just laning straight into the Volibear. Syndra with a roam into this Volibear. With the polymorph and the slow, they might be able to get it. Syndra doesn't have ult though, so they are relying on the pure base damage of the abilities. Volibear's very low, but I don't know if you want to go for that dive. To be honest, Zed gets an all-in trade with the ult onto the Talon and gets the kill on the top side. Volibear gets out safe on the opposite side in the mid.
You know, kind of crazy to say, but it turns out it's actually the tank Lulu who seems to be the best performing member on her team right now. Syndra hasn't been able to find any meaningful advantage, only has about 7 CS a minute, and then of course the Talon struggling 0-3, can't seem to find his footing against any lane. And
They probably do outscale into this game though, if they can get there.
See, I'm kind of struggling to see how tank Lulu will scale into the game. I really don't think these tank stats are going to help her out at all.
It seems very effective now, but yeah, as you say, instead of being actually able to heal up the Syndra and the Talon so that they can go for more risky plays, instead, you're just going to be a bit more tanky yourself. It's not like there's too many projectiles that you can actually block as well.
Yeah, and certainly the Syndra could be a threat later. But with the Talon as behind as he is, there's really no benefit for Lulu buffing or protecting him at all.
Syndra does use ult, isn't in kill range. Nice Q3 from the Yone. Misses one of the Qs, is very low, is forced to flash the distance. But gets out of there alive.
Yone now moving mid, interestingly. Maybe just looking to lifesteal off of the Scuttle Crab a bit.
It'd be very risky, doesn't even have ult to CC up this Lulu. After taking Scuttle Crab does cast the recall.
Actually, Syndra will get a sizable chunk on that turret.
Yone completes Blade of the Rune King, might have been why he went for the Scuttle Crab. Enough for a nice polymorph under the turret. Gets a massive chunk onto the Volibear again.
But once again, we can see her struggling with some mana issues. Maybe if she's going to keep going this tanky build, would want to start building into a Frozen Heart.
The enemy team does have quite a lot of AD, especially with the Volibear building AD items as well. But at least the enemy team does have a little bit of a struggle with mixed damage. Zed tries to go for the turret dive. Talon ult for ult trades. And nearly goes down to the clones.
Yeah, Zed just not auto-attacking the blood pedal for some reason. Not attacking this one either. Maybe Joe Buggy hasn't played too much of Season 15 yet.
There we go. Gets there eventually. Did you see Volley by bonding a whole breaker first item? And Yone's got a massive all-in onto the Syndra. Unable to find the scatter to deny the ult from the Yone. By the King plus Berserkers finally getting up to the attack speed necessary and gets the kill. Talon now trying to find trade onto the Zed while still in the turret, but this turret doesn't have much health left. He's able to force the Zed off of the turret though successfully. But Yone might be looking at first turret here. And that will give them the feats of strength necessary for their boots. And you gotta think, just like in the last game, Shad, even though technically he's behind the tempo of the game, he's playing yet another pick where he's still valuable to the team. He can shut off turrets so that the Zed and the Yone can dive. He's relatively tanky no matter what he builds. And he's just tanking up a lane so that the enemies can't get free turrets at this point. Nice Q3 from the Yone onto the Syndra. Syndra's really starting to struggle now that the Borks came through. And that's just another kill for the Yone. The stable side that was the Syndra for so much of this game so far is now just completely collapsed in the course of 2 plays.
And once again, you have to question, with Talon and the Syndra now both behind, who are you buffing as the Lulu? How can the Lulu be useful in these later fights?
And makes it out alive with very little mana and trade with the Zed. Every single time they meet, they seem to want to ult for ult trade. And Yone now getting free time on this turret. Talon's going to have to respond with the Syndra, potentially. Yone seems to only be backing off.
Yeah, seems like maybe Los Riddlers just needed to warm up their way into this series. Got destroyed in Game 1, had an extremely close Game 2, and now they're the ones doing the destroying in Game 3. They
seem very composed, and even though the substitute that's came in is performing relatively well, the build path isn't necessarily what we'd like to see in this game.
Yeah, and again, you can say what you want about Cal's performing well individually, but you have to call into question, did he ruin any of Slime's chances of potentially winning this game with that draft pick?
Well, people rotate into mid to get the turret gold. I just felt getting a little bit of progress. They do have a lot of damage put down onto the top and the bot turrets as well. There is a little bit of standing gold on this map that they can quickly get. I think that's keeping into the top side. Nice Q3 in from the Yone, but it's forced to cast deep back. They're trying to chase him down, but it's just going to opt out of the fight.
Yeah, you can see that the Volibear has a 1,600 gold lead, and the Zed has a 2,500 gold lead. So, Lulu with the 1.5k gold lead, her lead is that Aegis of the Legion just sitting in the inventory. That is the lead. So,
with the enemy team being relatively tanky in all roles, it's not going to really give them much of a threat. Although Yone might be a little bit too overextended into the turret, is able to get out alive with the cast of the E. The scatter nearly works, does put the Syndra quite low. The execution attempt coming out from the Zed, and it does come through with the clone. The Syndra is now getting dived on repeat, and once that scatter is gone from the first dive, is left completely defenseless for the second.
And while this game, the pace is at an absolute turtle crawl 22 minutes into the game, it is most definitely Los Riddlers' favorite. I feel like we're just seeing a Los Riddlers slow burn. I do not see how the momentum could possibly shift in favor of Slime at this point. Even if Syndra lands all of her abilities, it doesn't seem like she can one-shot anybody.
No, not at this point. Hull Breaker brought onto Yone, a little bit more defensive stats. Hull Breaker on the Volibear. Volibear uses ult onto the Talon, is actually completely able to win out the fight after popping gold, even though he was so low initially.
Yeah, what can you do?
All the Thunder's gone from the Talon now as well. Syndra's gonna rotate in, has ult available, so might be able to get the kill onto the Volibear. But it's gonna take some time to do so. I do get the kill, but Yone gets Rift Howled. They might just be able to pop it and go down in any lane that they choose. Uses the Rift Howled over the wall. He's gonna also cut off the Syndra with the Q3 into ult. Pops E for the increased damage. Pops back. Gives the Syndra nowhere to go. Flashes on for the auto. Tower goes down in the mid lane. Massively chunked from the Z ult is the Lulu. Even with the tank build, this is going to be a second charge potentially after the Rift Herald. After health bug on in the mid turret now. Amazing Q3 forward from the Yo and the Z together, following off the Lulu. And that's just another back and a massive gold lead now for Team Lost Riddlers.
Yeah, I mean, what is there to even do at this point? At least we had a banger game 2.
Lost Riddlers are composed. They are finding draft picks that are really surprised. I'm really surprised that got round to the 3rd round. Volibear and Going a massive pick so far this tournament in terms of pick presence, even though most picks haven't got picked that many times. You just gotta think, they're finding comfort where it matters. No one is able to follow up onto the slow onto the Yone. And all 3 players rotate into mid, which means the top wave is going to start crashing as well.
Yeah, I mean, look at these levels. The Yone is
really
level
low.
16. What are they supposed to do?
They get another 700 gold from the top turret. Ult comes out and pretty much one combos the Talon now with the gold lead. Lulu, you don't die. Finally buys a banded him, but it seems a little bit too late to be trying to get support items now after going so far down tank route. And the Zed's able to get the mid turret. Syndra finds the scatter and the ult, does get the kill, but now that's a completely open inhib. And meanwhile, on the opposite side with the Demolish, that's going to be a second open inhib on the bottom. There's no ult on the Syndra, and as soon as they were able to force off the Volibear, Yone's just going to push in another mid wave. And with the 4 Core Breaker build, that might be all 3 turrets potentially threatened to go down.
Yeah, almost got that turret under the 1/3 threshold, but that turret able to hang on just by a little bit. So if this thing gets left alone for long enough, it will regen to about 2,500 or so health, but...
He also used ult in that exchange. But then they all got dragged into mid lane. Yone has Bork. He might be able to take this before anyone can even get close. Volibear was just a distraction for the TP. And that's game 3. Done, dusted for Lost Riddlers.
Yeah, coming away with the upset victory, our full diamond team is now gone.